Hello and welcome my friends to The Flying Kick. I am Savino as always, and today we will take a look at the recently released Double Dragon Revive gameplay. Ark released a pretty lengthy trailer yesterday showing a lot from the gameplay, and of course I will milk this thing like it was the last call on the planet. If you aren't aware of this trailer, that's because you're not visiting my site, beatenupworld.com, where you can find all the beaten up news you need in your life and a few more. The address will be in the description. Okay, the shameless plug is done, let's take a look at the trailer. I will let the trailer run for those who didn't catch it. I had some complaints about not letting the trailer run last time I did a video like this, so if you already saw it, you can skip to here, or you can simply use the timestamp. So let's start addressing the pink flying elephant in the room. While we didn't have too much footage to really say something about the game, comparatively it looks way better. Sure, the last footage was taken with a random guy playing the game, and in this new one we can see more curated scenes. And yet, it looks as bad as I imagine. I mean, if you know these games, it doesn't matter if the person playing is bad or good at it, you can see how bad the game is. I mean, when you start to look at the details, you can see how jank everything looks and how poorly animated most of the moves are. For example, right here at the beginning, you can see how the enemies is pushed toward Billy so he can finish his move. And if you look carefully, you will notice most enemies have the same animation when you're beating them. This is pretty cool. Throwing enemies in the background is always fun, and I wish more games used this feature. Now that's something that's got me worried. How does this work with two players? Enemies will freeze while the animation plays out, the camera will zoom out. I'm really curious to see what solution they will pick here. On the bright side, it seems that we will get a ton of different combos, as we can see here in the scene, which is a completely different combo from the first one we saw from Billy. This also seems pretty cool. You can quickly attack an incoming enemy and quickly return to your main target. It shows the game will have a ton of flexibility in the combat. One thing I noticed too is that Billy throws his enemies in the background with a kick while James uses a punch. I'm not sure this is a difference between them or it's just a coincidence and you actually use both attacks to do this. Here we can see someone has been playing Street Fighter. But seriously, this looks interesting because it looks like a stop between two metro trains. I am imagining a level where you change trains after a while, and it would be interesting to see. It would be an welcoming change to this traditional level design, and sure, again, we can see more attacks using the environment. Now, here I want to point out two things. You can see this animation is exactly the same as the first scene with Billy. There's no difference between any of the enemy's animations, and this is honestly not a very good job. The other thing that I want to point out is how your character moves on the Z-axis automatically, preventing whiffs. I can see this is being very useful for some players, but I really hope this is a feature that can be turned off. I don't know if you guys agree, but whiffs are part of the game. It's a test of your abilities. After all, each whiff brings the possibility of you being attacked by surrounding enemies, and having your character locking on an enemy like that feels like, I don't know, feels wrong. I know people will throw stones at me, but that's exactly what I didn't like in those Batman games. This lock-on feature is very cinematic, but when it comes to gameplay, I want to be responsible for my failures. Thank you very much. Now, okay, I will give the game that. This air grab looks awesome, and the enemy behind you looking up, following your movement, is the cherry on top. This looks pretty good, except for this weird flip the enemy does when you grab him, but okay, I got it. Animating enemies being grabbed by the legs or by the chest according to their position in the air must be a bit hard. I mean, I wouldn't know. Sure, in the heat of the moment, you won't notice details, but it shows how far the developers were willing to go with this game, or at least how much money they had. This bit is interesting. It shows you have some iframes when performing these actions, and that the AI will simply ignore you when doing it. You can see the guy simply saying screw it and going away to do something else. I mean, it would look better if they simply waited idly in one place than walking against the wall, but yeah. Here we can see the good and old Burnov taking a beating. You will notice in this trailer that Burnov seems to appear as a regular enemy being featured in multiple stages. Well, this is not uncommon to see in Double Dragon. Burnov and Abobo, among others, always appears as bosses at first and after that as regular enemies, so it's cool to see they kept the tradition. What I don't like here is how the enemies ignore you completely while you're in the middle of a combo. I mean, this guy here tries to give Jimmy a gentle push instead of beat him senseless. You can also see some beds chilling on the table here in an attempt to give more life to this world, and Burnov's animation clipping while he's flying away. I guess it was a bug of some sort, since it happens frames after he hits the chair. Here we have a great example of how janky everything looks. Okay, it's pretty cool that you can grab your enemies and throw them away, but in this case the player clearly missed it, but the game doesn't care and puts the enemy inside the garbage bin. Bonus point for the collision here. The other thing is minor, but the enemy simply flies through the container here. I mean, I know a bit of 3D, and I know setting colliders is not that hard, especially on a box. There's a lot of focus on traps in this game, which is absolutely fine by me. I mean, one of the advantages of using 3D is exactly that. You can make use of all the features of a 3D engine without having to create 200 new sprites for every new idea you have. We can also see that Burnov is trapped on a loop of death here, apparently, which is funny, but sad to see. Here we have another scene on the same subway. I still believe you end up entering one of these cars, but nothing confirms that here. I mean, you can see the door of the train opening, but this can easily mean an enemy is coming out. You can also see some shielded guards that are, well, inspired by another game, I believe. There's also this move that Billy does with the axe, which feels like something out of a 3D beaten up, not only because of the character movement, but also the camera. The animation looks nice with Billy putting the axe over his shoulder when he finishes. The rest of the video has little to show. It shows a couple of new bosses. Joji, this wrestling guy that looks fun to fight against. Williams is now a boss, which makes me happy because dude was a henchman for so long, he deserves a promotion. And it's cool to see that the Shadow Warriors has a career plan for its members. Overall, I think the game looks better than what was shown in the last video. There were some weird things that I saw in the last footage that I didn't see here. Sure, these are curated scenes, so it's expected that they would cut any weirdness. Visually, I still don't like what I'm seeing. It looks a bit bland, generic, uninspired, I don't know. While I think that a more darker and mature Double Dragon is awesome, I mean, look no further than Double Dragon 2 on the NES, I don't think generic 3D looks are the way to go here. Well, as I always say, graphics are the least important thing in a beat'em up, so we still can hope that the combat will be something else. Let's see. What about you? Are you more hopeful about this game, still on the fence, still hating it? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, because this week I have a ton of content to drop here. And that's it for the video, guys. I will be back tomorrow with the review of the new Karate Kid game. In the meantime, I hope you all have an awesome day, and remember, keep it up.